Welcome back to M3 Podcast. We have Jeff on. If there was a guy in a cowboy hat here, I was going to have him on. No questions asked. What is DMC?
DMC is a commercial HVAC and plumbing company that's been in business for 21 years.
Very cool.
We serve the KC metro area all the way from Gardner to St. Joe to Blue Springs all the way to Lawrence. So,
wide footprint.
Yeah.
When we were setting our booth up, you came in with quite the contraption.
So big wall.
Yeah, what do you got going on the wall?
So we got a tankless water heater on there.
Okay.
And we got it opened up to where people could kind of see what's inside of it, like the heat exchanger and all that. And then we have an HVAC, just a control board and panel with a thermostat, and it actually runs hot, cold.
Very cool.
And whenever it runs, whatever it calls for heat, the red light turns on. Whenever it calls for cool, the blue light turns on.
Nice.
So it's a pretty cool little setup.
Sir, what's your position in DMC?
So I started out as a tech in 2014, 13. Kind of grew through the ranks a little bit. Karen helped me with my leadership skills and some other things. And then I grew to the number one or lead tech, to the plumbing lead manager. And now I'm in the business development side. So.
And now you're on a podcast at the Kansas City Chamber.
Yeah, right?
Look at it.
It's great.
It is.
DMC is a great company. I mean, we also do a lot for the community, too. So,
what all do you guys do for the community?
So we do a Diamond Day service every year.
Okay.
We try to find a nonprofit organization and go just Karen pays for everybody that in DMC for a full day, and it's usually longer than a full day because we find other issues. To go out and just fix any critical issues, we've done Habitat for Humanity. We did a Rosalind McGinnis's house. Last year we did the Rainbow School. We've done VCP, Veterans Community Project, 2 years. And we still like helping those guys out just because. And then that also turned into Karen starting Strong Homes, Strong Families, which is another nonprofit. And just seeing Karen and what she does for the community, it makes you want to get involved in the community. So I joined Strong Homes, Strong Families also. I'm on the board. We basically fix critical issues on houses at no cost to the homeowner. And then, so we were definitely out in the community doing things and
that's
trying to help out.
It's pretty cool that most of the people we've had on here tonight, and since we've been here, it's all drives back into what do people do for others? What are you doing to make a difference? And it's pretty cool with all the Kansas City business owners that are in this room, the difference that they make for the community.
Yeah, you got to. I mean,
So
I think it's a part of being in the community.
Yeah. I think a lot of people want the rewards from it, but they don't ever want to put the deposits in to ever get them.
Yeah, and I think if you're going into it looking for rewards, you're not.
Yep.
It's not the way to look at it, but we typically don't do that. It is rewarding doing the work. I mean,
that's the way I've always looked at it. Is I feel like it's just rewarding to get to be a part of those things.
It's almost kind of selfish, but it's not. I mean, it really does make you feel good that you're helping somebody out.
Yeah. So where are you originally from?
So I'm from Turner, Kansas.
Okay.
And then I moved to Lacine, Kansas.
Yeah.
Grew up, my grandma and grandpa had a horse ranch in Turner, which is still there. Family still owns it. And when they had two 160-acre farms down in Mound City and Blue Mound.
Okay.
So we had cattle and baled hay and did all that fun stuff. And did some other things that we probably shouldn't have done.
Yeah, probably gave you a little different level of work ethic coming up than most people have.
Yeah, the guy I worked for in high school was Harry Smith. He had his own cabinet shop. I worked with him my whole senior year. I didn't have to go to school because I already had all my credits. They said getting something in your career path and stick with it. So I worked with him, and he had his he had all his licenses. So master mechanical, plumbing, electrical. So we did everything. We'd go in, rip a house completely out to the bones, studs, re-plumb, re-HVAC, re-electrical, re-sheetrock, med tape, paint.
Whole nine.
Yeah, we did more cabinets than anything, which that's what I really like to do is build stuff. So
how many employees does DMC have?
I think we're up around 23.
23.
So
quite
a few. We got I would say 7 or 8 HVAC techs, 5 plumbing techs, a team lead on both sides, project manager on the HVAC side, and then I'm the director of business development. Then we got Kyle as our COO. Diana is our customer service experience manager.
Yep.
And then Maria's our CFO. So.
Very cool. So who was the one that taught you more of the leadership side?
Karen.
Harry?
Oh, yeah. Me and her work together a lot. And there's a couple times she's like, hey, man, you need to figure this out. Because, I was taught, I worked with my dad. He has his own plumbing company. And he was a little different, but that man taught me everything I know about plumbing.
Yeah.
And he is very knowledgeable in plumbing. So, but yeah, she really developed that leadership side of mine.
Very cool. Well, it sounds like you guys are killing it.
Oh, yeah.
And going the right direction, having a purpose along the way.
Oh, yeah.
So I always love chatting with business owners. And like I said, if I found somebody with a cowboy hat, they were coming on.
You got to.
Have to. But keep killing it.
Yeah.
That's M3 Podcast. Peace. Got a lot of things over there.
Is this good?
You ready?
Check. Audio good?
You been on a lot of podcasts?
Yeah.
All right. Welcome back to the M3 Podcast. We have Janae on, and I'm going to say I didn't get a whole lot of deets on this, so I've been kind of just freestyling it over here.
Yeah.
So what's the background?
Yeah, so I am a tech entrepreneur here in Kansas City. Had a couple businesses that I've sold, and now we are working on another tech company, me and my partner in life, and co-founded this to essentially, I got fed up with the bias in lending, not being able to deploy capital. I've been a consultant for a long time, so I've been consulting entrepreneur support organizations, lenders, city governments on how to serve entrepreneurs. And in that work, saw a lot of problems. I got extremely frustrated with the way they were handling said problems, and I knew technology could solve the problems. So we created it.
So on a few of the tech companies that were sold, what were the outlines of those?
So one was actually a brick and mortar business, a gym fitness center with an app attached to it that I sold to a franchise. And then my last one was ad tech. So we created an algorithm that would take tech startups to market with an entire marketing team that was not an actual team. Yeah. Similar to this, but technology and fake. Before there were these agentic AIs that came out after ChatGPT, we were kind of doing that already. So yeah, sold that to a large software company.
Very cool. So yeah, I think a lot of times in the business capital raise side, it was something that I was actually just talking to a banker, and I was like, I have absolutely hated meeting with bankers up until I had a meeting this last week that I actually pretty well enjoyed.
Oh, nice.
It was, you go to college, I go to college and they'll give me as much money as I want. I don't even have a job.
Yeah.
And it's just free checks handed out if you're at college. But then the day I get out of college, I go get a job, I make a bunch of money. I get the credit score, I get the new house, I get all the things, I build established credit.
Yeah.
And then I go to open up a company, and when I walk away, every bank laughs at me. They're like, you don't have any income. And I'm like, yeah, I'm opening a company.
No crap.
I'm like,
I don't want to curse, but yeah, obviously.
And it was just like, it didn't make sense to me. And I'm like, you can see I've never missed a payment in my life on anything. I'm at 800 plus credit score. I have money in the bank. I feel like I ran the path perfect to where I was supposed to be, and banks laughed at me.
And then you get there and they're like, nah, they just laugh in your face. It's really, So that's what we have corrected. For the ones that use our technology, that's what we've corrected.
So then what does the technology help from the problem aspect, what is it accomplishing?
Yeah, so what we figured out is a lot of times it's not necessarily the banks. Like, there's never a scenario where they don't want to give you the money. They have to check a lot of boxes. And it's a manual process to check those boxes. And a lot of times business owners don't understand those boxes. So when it comes to onboarding someone that is asking for money, there's a lot that goes into it. And there's a readiness aspect. So 80% of borrowers that show up are actually not prepared or ready to take on that capital. So we've unified the readiness piece, the verification piece that the lenders have to do, and the underwriting piece, using a language model that we created that can take all of that data. We have like 100 million data sources. The business owner is not required to show up with 100 pieces of information or fill out 100 application questions. They fill out 5 questions for us, and we create this complete loan packet. And if they aren't ready, an empathetic decline is created. So maybe you're not ready today, but you'd be ready tomorrow. We give you the action plan. You go fix those things, and they're usually minimal, right?
Yeah.
But you don't know. The bank just says, nope, can't do it. It's like, okay, well, I guess I'll try another bank, or one of those lenders online that says they'll put $50,000 in your bank account by tomorrow, which is just not true, and it's predatory. But essentially, that is how we're able to do it, is our language model and just the way that we approach the entire process.
It's a pretty big problem, pretty impressive that you're going to conquer that. And I ended up, after banks ended up not being the route, I went off to selling equity. Mm-hmm. And I feel like there's 2 pathways you could take. That I run a company that doesn't have debt over it. Yeah. But I only own 87%. Mm-hmm. But I was okay with that, just streamline the speed of which we ran. Exactly. And there's some people that agree with that. There's some people that don't. And they're like, you always need to hold 100%. And I'm like, Elon Musk doesn't own 100% of Tesla. Jeff Bezos doesn't own 100% of Amazon. You look at all these huge players, normally own less than like 30% of what it is that they have. Yep, exactly. And that's where I also looked at, when you bring those equity partners to the table, what benefits do they have for the company? Yes. So it was, in a roundabout way, I'm glad banks turned me away. Mm-hmm. But I also look at it that there's a lot of business owners that my system and my pathway I was trying to take was a little different. Mm-hmm. I was wanting to scale something really big. Mm-hmm. And there's some people that they just want to get to a 5 to 10 person operation, and they just want a steady line of credit that could sit here on the side. Yep. Just in case the hard times come. Yep. That they can float something out if they have a service truck that goes down. If I need to pay my bills or something, yeah. So I think that's pretty cool to be able to have something like that to go help business owners. Yeah, yeah. And I'm enjoying the work. I feel like it's the best work I've ever had the opportunity to do. Now? Huh? Is it on market right now? Yeah, yeah. We're in about 13 states. We work with lenders, large organization. Our largest customer is the state of Kansas and MasterCard. Our smallest customer is a CDFI that writes $1,000 loans and only has $1 million under assets under management. So we have worked with all types of organizations, people trying to do good work and give money, I won't say away, but out, and do it efficiently and give it to the right people and not have to wait 6 months to give it to them. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it sounds like it's a lot of fun. It sounds like you're getting to make a big difference. Yeah, what you do. Yeah. And we've been able to turn that work into consulting. Like today I'm here with Casey SourceLink, which is a local organization. And what they've done is, I've always consulted founders. That's kind of how that's the origin story of Cypher. But they've subsidized the price of consulting so that any founder can just come speak to me whenever and get help with their business. So come check me out over there if you need some help. Yeah. Very cool. So after this, I'll have Alex get with you and get all your information so we have it underneath the podcast, because we do have a lot of business owners that listen to this week over week that, one, they could speak with you about consulting if they need help on that side. Then also using your tech to help a business that we've podcasted for 160 plus weeks now. Oh, wow. Every Monday. Consistency. Yeah. I don't know. I tell people if anyone ever wants to come after me on consistency, I will win. Yeah, clearly. That's the reason I've never
done it. I'm like, I'm not going to be consistent. I'll be consistent for 8 episodes and then.
But I'll put that all below because my ultimate goal with the podcast always was if we have one business owner listen each week that gets something out of it to help them,
then you've been successful. Yeah.
The compounding effect of that becomes huge.
I agree. Yeah, it's a good mission. I appreciate.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you speaking to me.
I appreciate you jumping on.
Of course.
Alex spoke very highly of you, so he's like,
I don't know why all these people talk well. No, I'm just kidding. I appreciate that.
I got to pay Alex to talk good about me. So
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
thank you for jumping on.
Of course.
Again, keep killing it. Sounds like you're making it happen.
Yeah,
so.
same.
But
thank you.
That's M3 Podcast. Peace.
This feels very intense.
All right. Welcome back to the M3 Podcast. We got Amber on.
Yeah.
Well, this is a way different environment of how we normally podcast. So,
How do you normally podcast?
My whole garage is built out to a state-of-the-art podcast studio. So
Okay.
We also have a short bus that we gutted, podcast studio, and then
Mobile podcast.
both office locations also have podcast studios.
Cool.
So this is the first time doing it this way.
Smart idea.
So
Love it.
what do you do?
So I own Resolve Counseling and Wellness. I'm a therapist.
Okay.
And we have around 40 therapists at our 3 different locations.
Very cool.
Yeah, we do everything from grief, addictions, couples counseling, kiddos, everything in between.
So what got you into that line of work?
You know, I've always been the type of person who wanted to help people. And I think this is a really incredible way to do it. I was actually a Peace Corps volunteer and was exposed to a lot of different things where people didn't necessarily get the help that they needed. And so upon my return, I decided to become a therapist.
So when did you start it?
Oh man, about 15 years ago.
Okay.
And I worked in hospitals first. And then I realized that there was a gap in between the services that Kansas City could provide to people and what people really needed. And so I thought maybe I could do it better, and I do it pretty well.
I think that's how a lot of business starts.
Yes, absolutely.
I saw on the other side of the table from marketing agencies for years. I was like, I feel like I could do this better. I'm going to say the early years, I don't think I really did, but
Yeah.
I was given a valiant effort.
Yeah.
And as it progressed, it started coming together.
Yes.
But I think that was the key of putting a lot of great people around me to actually develop the product and service.
Yeah, I always
was needed.
say I hire people who are smarter than me and better at their jobs than I would ever be.
Yeah.
I've got an incredible team.
I think a lot of people have I think most people have this complex that they have to try to be the smartest person in the room.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like they need someone else's validation to justify that.
Yeah.
I've never been that person. Like, it just doesn't really bother me.
Yeah.
So it's just like I don't need anyone's validation for anything.
Yeah.
So it's
You make a great business owner then.
yeah,
You know, because you can take risk and not feel
Yeah.
like you're going to fail.
yeah.
And then people want to follow you, and that's something that's really admirable.
And I will take risk on people, like Ricky and Lauren when they joined the firm back in 2021. They were working at a gym. I didn't even tell them that I didn't have any work for them. I hire them. My wife was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm going to take a line of credit out against the house to pay them." And she's like, "That doesn't sound like a good idea." And I'm like, people are way harder to find than work. So
Yeah.
if people have looked at like when we've hired, it never makes sense. But if I ever cross an A player, I'm offering them a job.
You know, it's that idea of like hire for growth.
Yeah.
Hire for what you know you can do in the future. You've got to have the people in place to make it happen.
Yeah. And I think when you talk the business structure, there's acquisition of work and there's acquisition of employment.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times people focus on acquisition of work so much,
No doubt. Yeah.
they forget about the other pillar that actually holds their business up.
Yeah.
And I've always went after acquisition of employment first, and I've just found the work afterwards.
Yeah.
And
But
so-
that takes a lot of belief in yourself too, and your ability to find that, you know?
Yeah, I sit and I look at rooms every day and the people that are around, and I was like, man, I'm pretty good at putting great people together. I'm like, I'm good at that.
I love it.
But so getting up to 40 therapists working for you, what were the largest hurdles in leadership, kind of scaling that up and managing
Oh my gosh,
people?
we had some hurdles. So I tried to find an executive director a couple of different times, and it was horrible trying to find somebody outside of the agency. So what I've learned along the way when it comes to therapy in general is I always find my leadership internally. After they've proved themselves as a therapist, then they can lead, either as a clinical director or a site leader in community engagement. Hiring outside of the agency to try and find positions I've learned a lot of lessons with that. I hired an executive director when I was 35 weeks pregnant with my 4th kid, and he quit 10 days in because he told me the job was too hard. I was like, okay.
Nice.
Okay, thank you, sir. I am, yeah. So, I've also learned as a business owner that you have to be able to pivot and react and be flexible, because you can put the best plans in place and things are always going to change.
Yeah. So you personally, as a leader,
yeah,
developing into that person, because I know when you start, I came out the gate, I thought I was super smart, I thought I was all these things that I wasn't, and I was this entrepreneur, and I see a quote one day, and it's like, if you're an entrepreneur that doesn't understand how to make money, you're not a very good entrepreneur. I'm like, you're talking right at me. I'm like, I was really good at losing money, but I was just playing entrepreneur. I wasn't a business owner. I wasn't a CEO. I didn't have any of those traits yet.
Yeah.
So getting into those leadership roles and going to manage people, what did that development look like for you?
Ooh, I'm going to be totally honest. I am not the greatest leader.
If you have 40 people, you're pretty good.
No, honestly, what I'm pretty good at is hiring great leaders. I'm actually very good at scaling a company, and I'm methodical and I'm intentional, but I just hire really great, incredible people to lead. Because also in our company, therapists are really emotional, and vastly more emotional than the average employee is,
Yeah.
And so it's a different type of person to lead,
Yeah. So
I know that's not the answer that you wanted, but it's my truth.
Yeah. But it's also like, I look at, for a long time when I wasn't great at leading, it's because I wasn't focused on developing leaders, that you can't lead everybody.
Yes.
And we struggled at this like 12 to 15 person window, because it's like we were flexing up and we hit it, we'd drop back off. We'd flex up and we'd drop back off. But it's because everyone answered to me.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember one sit-down conversation with a buddy of mine, very high level of respect. He runs a 9-figure plus business, scaled it up from ground zero. And he's like, you can't have everyone, he goes, is everyone answering to you scalable? I was like, well, no. He goes, then why are you doing that now?
Yeah.
He's like, build for scale now. And I was like, something so simple that like, it hit me like a sack of bricks when I'm sitting there. I'm like, looking at myself in the mirror, I'm like, you're an idiot. You are an idiot. I'm like, why have you not been developing those leaders to actually go out and be those people that pretty much one day I set a leadership group, and I set the whole company to everyone answers to them. And then all of a sudden it was like we just started taking off.
That's amazing.
It ran smoother, and my time now is developing 7 people
Yes.
to the highest of their abilities
Yes.
every single week to then help move forward everyone else.
Yeah. I love it.
I think that's where
Yeah.
you've seemed like you understood that from a lot earlier position.
Definitely. I knew where my skill sets were, and I knew that I couldn't answer to everybody. I think also that comes from having a lot of children as well.
I don't have any children yet,
Well,
so.
I got a bucket full of them, and you learn really quickly that you can't do everything for everyone. So, yeah.
Very cool. Sounds like you're killing it.
I'm
and
trying.
Making it happen. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you sitting down and chatting.
Thanks for having
And
me.
like I said, this is way different than the norm.
I love it.
but-
This is so cool.
Keep making it happen.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you.
That's M3 Podcast. Peace. Welcome back to the M3 Podcast. This is a first for sure.
All right.
Hurston,
Yes.
all right, what do you do?
I am co-founder and chief product officer at Storytailor.
Okay.
Yes. So we are a dynamic story creation platform. We're targeting 3 to 8 year olds.
Okay.
So you can hop on our platform at storytailor.com, build a customized story for that child with whatever they're going through in that moment in about 90 seconds.
Oh, wow.
It comes with the story itself. It comes with story art. It also comes with a unique lesson plan per story, as well as a list of activities. Our objective is that you start on our platform build a story with the child, and spend the rest of the time having fun off screen.
Very cool. So where'd this idea spark from?
So my business partner and CEO, co-founder, JQ Searles, is a children's book author. He's published multiple times over. He's got a myriad of experiences. He's actually been doing something in the realm of story creation and illustration for most of his life since he was like 6. And so this is kind of a situation where the technology finally caught up with the idea of being able to allow people to tell stories the way that they want to, specifically children of a myriad of different backgrounds and different experiences in their life. We wanted to make sure that a child could express their own narrative using their voice, however that needed it to be in that moment. And so that's what the platform kind of stems from. We decided, we don't want to try to tell the story of your child. We don't know your child,
exactly.
Right? You do.
Yeah.
So the idea is that you actually go ahead and build the story with your child and share in that moment, and then build another one right after that. Create a sequel or build a whole new story.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's so what do we got going on here?
Robot dog.
Okay.
So for a lot of people, I don't know if they know this, but this was all in the plans. We've had these dogs for a year. Leash mode has only been available for about 6 months.
Okay.
And so that's been fairly new to folks, seeing me walk it around Kansas City. And recently there was a video that a gentleman captured of me walking the dog downtown. It went a little viral. And so that was an interesting experience trying to navigate that. But yeah, we got the dogs to bring attention and awareness to what we do. We knew it would turn a lot of heads because most people have not seen a robot in real life. And then we knew it would be a hit with children. So taking it into schools and children's hospitals, it's been really cool to see their reactions, as well as the kids at heart. So the therapist or the nurse or the child life specialist, they get equally as excited as the kids do.
Well, when you were coming on, I thought it was going to be some sort of like crazy tech thing with the dogs, but
right.
The marketing move,
yes,
to get attention,
yes,
genius.
Thank you. We've had some interesting experiences. We walked the dogs in downtown Lincoln, Nebraska, and one of the bus drivers was en route, and he pulled the bus off his route to hop off and take a picture with the robot dog. And you would think the people on the bus would be like irritated because they have to get to work or school or whatever. No, they all had their phones out. So yeah, this has been happening for a while. And even now when I walk it downtown, the light rail conductors will like slow down and like wave. So it's been pretty cool.
Yeah. So whose idea was the dogs?
It was a shared idea. So JQ and I were in a accelerator in Nebraska. So we had to take trips up there like every week. As we were traveling, our minds started wandering, like what are the things we're going to do to like increase awareness, to get attention, the kind that we want. And what can we do that's just cool, that we've always found interesting. And so the robots came out of that. I've actually been interested in robots since I was like 6 or 7.
Okay.
I had every type of kit set that you could possibly build a robot with growing up as a child. And I've watched the maturation of robots over time, watching them stumble for like over 20 years. So people think this is new. It isn't. The first thing I can remember saying that I wanted to be was a robotic engineer. I'm not quite that, but I get to be pretty close by having my own robot. So it's pretty cool.
So what's your guys' overall vision with where the business is going right now?
Absolutely. So the long-term vision is to make sure that parents are engaging with their children in an imaginative way. We believe that as of late and more recently, parents have been treating childhood like a curse. And unfortunately, that's led to some not so great statistics in terms of like child anxiety, depression, visits to the hospital for suicide attempts have gone up exponentially. And we found that most of that deals with them having caring moments with the people that they want those moments with the most. So engaging with parents. So our long-term goal is to make sure that every child feels seen, specifically by the individuals that they care most about, which tends to be their parents or their guardians.
Very cool.
Thank you.
I love your guys' purpose. I love the messaging behind it.
Yeah.
I think the thinking cap is
something totally separate. So yeah.
It's right in line with all of it.
It is. Everything lines up.
Yeah, it does all line up. It's cool what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Keep making it happen. And we'll tag everything below on the video.
Sounds good.
So appreciate you coming on. And
I appreciate it. You can follow us everywhere at Storytailor or at Storytailor Inc. on Instagram. We greatly appreciate it.
Yeah.
Or just go to storytailor.com. Make a story.
Yeah,
We invite you to do that.
for sure. And then we'll be cutting reels out of this and everything and shooting them over your way so you guys will have some content.
Perfect. We'll take it.
Cool. That's M3 Podcast. Peace. All right, welcome back to the M3 Podcast. Introduce yourself. What do you do?
My name is Maurice Gay. I'm Director of Operations for the Prospect Business Association here in Kansas City, Missouri. We're an entrepreneurial support organization. Basically, our whole existence is just making sure small businesses are successful. So we get businesses from ideation, if somebody got an idea, say they want to be a business owner, and up into businesses that have been in business for over 10 years. We deal with growth and scaling. We help with human resources. We do everything. We do free one-on-one business coaching. We offer free workshops. We have networking opportunities. And the thing we're most proud of is that we do this. 95% of everything we do for business owners is at no charge to them.
Very cool. So what kind of sparked this and how did you get into it?
Well, myself, I worked at another organization for 14 years, and what I did, I worked with PBA for the last 3 years teaching classes, and I worked with small businesses in my previous position. But last year, I made the decision to come work for PBA because I have a passion for helping business owners be successful. As I look at the statistic for businesses, within the first 3 years, over 33% of businesses fail. Then the first 5 years, that shoots up to over 50%. And I don't know anybody who starts a business not to be successful. So if there's anything I can do to try to help that business be successful, that's where myself and my business coach, Chris Kelly, we step in. We take a business, if they're struggling with business plan, struggling to figure out marketing strategies, different things. I teach classes myself from understanding how to bid on a project, time management, these type of things that help them propel themselves and help their business move forward.
Yeah, it's crazy. When I got into business, we started this a little over 4.5 years ago, and I thought I was a lot smarter in business than I was. I think that's a lot of entrepreneurs out there. You read a couple books and you think you know what you're doing, and I fell flat on my face.
Well, that's because I have a phrase. I said, just because you can fry chicken don't mean you know how to run a restaurant.
Yeah.
So the thing is, that is what really benefits, really is a factor to most businesses not being successful. A lot of times it has nothing to do with capital or money. A lot of times it's a lack of knowledge because they don't take the time to learn about how to run the business. So they think, hey, my cake is great. Everybody's going to buy it, but you got to understand capital. You got to understand how to have supply and demand. You got to understand everything to make sure business move. And that's what we come in at. We work with businesses in Kansas and Missouri. We work with businesses of any industry. We work for-profit, not-for-profit, because our goal is to see people's dreams become reality.
Yeah, and that was one of the reasons that I started this. Was I sat on the other side of the table for a long time. I was in a business. My dad's been an entrepreneur his whole life, and I couldn't find the solution that I was looking for to my problem in the marketing world. So I was like, I'm gonna go create something, and I started reading books, and I started getting it. I was so into becoming great at marketing that I didn't spend the time to become a great business owner.
There it is.
So I think a lot of times people end up going down a route that they become really good at their craft, but they forget that 75% of running a business is not how well you understand your craft, but how well you understand managing and running an actual company.
Yeah, and that's what PBA was born out of. Back in 2016, the board of directors came together and they said they seen what was happening in the businesses in our community, and they said we got to do something to help. So then in 2018, they brought back our CEO, Simone Curls. She basically ran PBA by herself for the first few years. Even during COVID, PBA was still teaching classes. She was there doing coaching with businesses. And now there are businesses, because of they working with her. We have several businesses that are millionaires because they took the time to work their business. So Simone has been the backbone behind PBA. And in 2021, when we started gaining more clients, it allowed her to start hiring people. So myself and our team now, we have a team that is dedicated to make sure businesses are successful. All of us come there with one purpose and one focus, to make sure the businesses come first and that we do whatever is going to be best for them. So she has been a guide and light. Now as the CEO, she hired me as Director of Operations. run the day-to-day operations for the business, and we're all about making sure the businesses are taken care of.
Yeah, and I think that one of the problems I see a lot of times too for business owners is when you go start reading, you read about these billionaires, you read about this greater than life story that everyone dreams of that story. Everyone wants that to be the reality.
Absolutely.
But the roadmap to get there, a lot of times they're not talking about those early days when they're like, you need to work on your business, not in your business. I'm like, yeah, that's real cliche. I'm like, there's 4 of us at this point. I'm like, now that we have almost 40 people, it's a lot easier to do.
Yep.
Like, so when you look at that, sometimes I feel like the reading that you go after doesn't always directly align with what you're needing at that point. So it's like, I'm working on multiple books myself. It's something I have time blocked every day to work on.
Yeah.
But I talk about the first 3 all the time with business owners. What's the first 3 years look like? What does the first 3 employees look like? What does the first 3 accounts look like? There's so many things that business loses this kind of connection, that the business owner that starts off just trying to figure out how to make payroll, that then scales past the 7-figure mark, 8-figure mark. I have a lot of guys I sit at tables with that are well past 9-figure mark, and it's like the connection gets lost.
Yeah, absolutely.
The way that they're solving a problem at that point is, hey, I could throw millions of dollars at this to fix it. The guy that's like, I'm trying to make $10,000 of payroll, way different game.
Well, the first thing we do with businesses, we have the traditional quadrant, and we show them the progression. Right now, you've been an employee at a company, but now you want to be self-employed. Being self-employed means that I might still work a job and do this on the side. Then eventually you become a business owner where this is everything that I do, all that I am. But I said, but the difference between self-employed and a business owner is you develop systems, you develop procedures, you develop policies that help me take care of that my organization, my business. I said, you become a business owner when if you have to leave out of town, your business keeps functioning and it doesn't stop just because you're not there.
Yep.
Our micro business owners, I make them understand that you are your business. So as long as that's there, you got to figure out, how do I get this to keep going, even if I'm not around to do it. And then I told them that eventually you may want to invest in other business, become an investor yourself, but it takes time. I tell you, there's a very rare business that goes into business and then a year later they're making multi-millions of dollars.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen like that in reality. You're going to have your good years, have your bad years.
Yeah.
You're going to have your times when you're successful and the times you fall flat on your face. But to be a good business owner, you got to keep pushing through that. So we give encouragement. Like we do our one-on-one business coaching session, we not only talk about the business, but we talk about them to make sure that they understand they're okay because they are their business.
A lot of what's gotten me through it, because I've hit those hard spots in business, and podcasts are something that's actually helped me a lot. Mm-hmm. And that was one of the reasons I started the podcast also, was I want people to see our whole journey.
Good.
I run the podcast on a few different forefronts. One of it's going to be one day I'm going to have kids. I'm going to be gone. And they're going to see the whole entire journey. That we've dropped a podcast every Monday for 160 weeks now. To where it's like, I tell people, if you want to try to beat me on consistency, game on. But it's one of those things that when you're doing these things all the time, I've had so many business owners reach out to me, small business owners, like, I listen to your podcast every week, and it helps me understand that somebody else went through it, that someone else was in that position. That at night when I watch TV, I'm a little weird, but I watch documentaries on Henry Ford, Walt Disney, the Rockefellers, J.P. Morgan, like the greats. You look at Henry Ford's building cars when there's a patent on them, and they're not even going to be able to go to market, and he has bet everything on it, on one vote behind a closed door, that they walk out and they said, you're not allowed to build, he loses everything. Or they walk out and they say, you get to sell, game on. Now he's a name that's always remembered. Walt Disney fights bankruptcy multiple times and ends up building something that his name way outlived his lifetime. But it's a culture and what he built is something that doesn't make sense to most business owners.
It does not.
When he's doing research on how far someone will walk before they drop a piece of trash, it's 27 feet that they'll walk before they. So every Disney resort has a trash can every 27 feet.
I heard that before.
So it's
I
like,
heard that.
When you look at those things, that if he's going to a board with that, that makes no sense. But in his mind, that made perfect sense.
Yep, because it keeps the parts clean.
It was just that built the culture of what Disney was to do it to that level, to where I always have watched those things. I'm like, when I'm doing all these strange things and going a little bit above and beyond on everything that we do, spending more money than the next person, that accountant's going to look at it and say that's not the right move.
Yeah.
That's why accountant isn't in the CEO's seat.
Exactly.
So it's
and that's why with movies, I watched a movie called The Founder.
Yep.
And I use that movie to a lot of businesses to tell them, make sure you know what's going on inside your business for every aspect. In that movie, the guy who made the McDonald's Corporation actually stole it from the McDonald's brothers.
Yep.
And I told them that's why you got to know what's going on, know every aspect of your business from top to bottom. There should be nothing going on that you don't understand and know how to do. And that's that. And I said that's how you build it. So when you hire people to do things, but you should always be the smartest person in the room. And if you're not, figure out how to become that individual.
Yeah. No, it's definitely something. I've hired a lot of great individuals that have outscaled me in their respected areas.
There you go.
I know how to do the marketing side. I know how to do the content. I was the whole business at one point.
There you go.
And it's funny when you talk to people about investment into the company.
Yeah.
When you're the person, they're not real fond of it. Once I finally built the company to where I can disappear for 2 months, MMG runs it continues to scale and grow without me in it. So once that happened, it was investor money started coming out everywhere. They're like, what's it take to buy in? And like big checks, I was like, what? This is crazy. Like,
yeah. Well, that's because you set up the system.
Yep.
And you got to grow to that point. That's what you understand. You got to figure out your business, figure out what makes it run the best, and then from that point, allow it just continue to grow. That's why we do a lot of growth and scaling. Okay, you're here. Now let's figure out how to get you here.
Yeah.
What system you need in place to make sure that everything keeps pushing, everything keeps growing beyond you. Like you said, you could take a 2-month vacation, come back, the business is not going to fall apart.
No.
That's why people invest in it, because they see it's not an individual, it's a company.
Yep.
And that's what we're trying to get businesses to, if that's their desire. Some people desire to stay small, and I said that's great. If you want to stay small, that's good, but let's figure out how to be small and successful according to what your terms are.
For sure. I could sit here and talk business all night. I appreciate you jumping on here
Not
with
a problem.
us.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate
going
it.
over it. We'll have all your links below.
Okay.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Making a
Appreciate
difference
it.
out there.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for being
Thank you for
on.
your time. Appreciate it.
That's M3 Podcast. Peace. Welcome back to the M3 Podcast. We got Vicky on, making the whole show happen. So, what is it that you do for the chamber?
Well, I am the small business director. I've been in the position for about 6 years, something like that. I think this is my 6th celebration. So I oversee our 5-month small business celebration. It starts in January with the applications, and it culminates with our awards luncheon in June. So June 17th, we'll be at the Sheraton Crown Center, and we'll be giving out our Mr. K Small Business of the Year Award, along with, I think, 4 or 5 other specialty awards. So we've got the International Award, Emerging Small Business, Legacy of Kansas City, which is a business that's 15 years or older, Small Business Equity, and we just launched last year our Luminary Arts and Creative Award. So anyway,
A lot of stuff happening.
A lot of stuff. I keep very busy with this whole celebration. Obviously you start early in the planning. And then I also oversee, we do some work for access to capital for underrepresented small businesses that need to build relationships with bankers and lenders and help them get some capital to run their small business.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, funny enough, I wasn't very involved in the chamber, so I feel like I'm new to the game here.
I
And
think I'm leaning too far.
Alex was super involved. He goes, "Hey, you need to get involved with the chamber." I'm like, I used to be involved in a chamber that was very, very small in my hometown.
Okay.
And I was like, it was like 8 people. And I was like, it just wasn't very big.
Okay.
And we did an event at our office. We went to the chamber dinner, and
All right.
it's impressive what you guys are doing. And we've got to talk to so many amazing business owners.
That's so
and
great.
It's cool to see this.
We're excited to have you guys part of the chamber. As a regional chamber, we do tend to have a larger membership roster than other, smaller city chambers. But we're very, try to collaborate with all the other chambers in the metro area. But as a regional chamber, we have about 1,900 members. So, we do have a lot of stuff going on. So I'm glad that you guys are finding ways to get involved, and we're happy to have you guys on board.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. If there's a small business or a business owner out there at all that wants to get involved in the chamber, what are their kind of pathways that they can look to get involved with it?
Oh, wow. There's a lot of different ways. So obviously we have our neighborhood networking, our networking events for all of our members. But beyond kind of the standard networking events, we have our Centurions, which is our leadership development program. It's a 2-year program, so there's a lot of kind of professional development opportunities at the chamber. We also have Gen KC, which is for emerging professionals. So kind of it's kind of the stepping stone to Centurions. So Gen KC, they've got social activities, leadership development, all kinds of things going on for young emerging professionals. We also have our Healthy KC initiative, which really helps connect companies with one another as far as just what are they doing with their own businesses as far as like active living, how do they support their employees in the health and wellness space. There's a lot going on. Let's just say that. We're a staff of about 30, but there's so many things going on at our chamber that's hard to even keep up even when you work there. So.
You guys are giving a lot of resources, and you're giving a lot of, I think, opportunities for people to open doors. And I've always seen a very high power in networking.
All right.
And I've always done really well to network in the right rooms, be around the right people. And I also tell people that don't get into those rooms just to try to sell people. Like, I don't like being sold. I don't sell anybody anything. It's just let your product and service speak for itself, and you'll make the correct partnerships.
Yeah,
so that's
absolutely.
what I've really enjoyed about just even tonight, the amount of people that we've got to have discussions with and talk about their businesses. That this isn't any way a position for us to sell anything.
Right.
This is a position for us to give a business owner a voice to be heard and to get out there.
That's super cool. And I do think that is one thing that the chamber is able to do, and it's maybe more of an intangible benefit, is just helping facilitate those introductions, providing opportunities for connection. And, hopefully if you're a member, you're coming to some of our events throughout the year, and you can kind of see that there is definitely a feeling of camaraderie or a close connection amongst the business community. Yeah. So we're thrilled to have you guys, and glad we're able to be a part of it tonight. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I know that you said you wanted the simple question at the beginning. It was what's your favorite color? Okay.
Yeah. My favorite color would be like a blue-green.
A turquoise?
Yeah, something like that. Maybe more on the green side.
More like a more green turquoise.
Yes, right. That's it.
Well, I appreciate everything that you're doing here.
Thank you.
Appreciate you letting us crash the party.
Yeah, absolutely.
Be a part of it.
Yeah.
So
thanks for being a part of it. We appreciate it. Nice to have you.
That's M3 Podcast. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the M3 Podcast. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Want to learn more? Check us out on Instagram at Moss Marketing Group, on Facebook at Moss Marketing 58, or on our website at mossmarketinggroup.com.